गोविन्दाचरण श्रीरासा मण्डल जय जय राधा श्याम जय जय रासा लीला सर्वा मनोरम जय जय जला रसा सर्वा रसा पराखिया भावे जहाँ ब्रजेते प्रचार श्री जानावा पादा पद्मा कोरेय स्मरण दीना कृष्ण दासा को है नमः संकीर्तन जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय सुदर्शन जय राधा माधव राधे जय राधा गिरिधारी राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे राधा रानी की जय महारानी की जय बोलो बरसाना वासी की जय 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 बोलो वृंदावन वासी की जय 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 बोलो वृषभानु दुलारी की जय 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 हरे कृष्णा प्रभु with your permission shall I start?
Yes, Mother, please.
हरे ओम अज्ञानातिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतुषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते नमो ब्रह्मण्य देवाय गो ब्राह्मण हिताय च जगतिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय श्री गुरुदेव की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि भक्तवृंद की जय हरे कृष्ण so today we are doing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila chapter, right, from text 214 onwards. So before I begin, I would like to just give a recap which is for my benefit, and I hope it will be for all of your benefit also. So any shortcomings, please forgive me. Anything good point, you can take it home. So this chapter, we have seen that Sri Gaurahari Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is traveling to South India, and then after some time he has come back to the banks of Godavari, and he is meeting Rāmānanda Rāya, and there is been a discussion between both of them. We have seen so many speakers telling in the past few weeks about how different samvada, that is, there is talk between Sri Rāmānanda Rāya and Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When we discuss about the entire Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is preaching to different persons in different capacities. Like with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Prakashananda Saraswati, it was philosophy which they discussed, which was based on Bhagavad Gita. And then with students like Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discussed about philosophy and Bhakti Tattva. So he preached to them in such a way that they could write a lot of literature on the basics of Bhakti. And when it came to Sri Rāmānanda Rāya, very confidential topics like the love between Sri Radha, Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna was discussed, and the loving dealings between the gopis and Krishna was discussed. And when it came with the general populace, he only did Harinam Sankirtana. So that's how he had different relationships with different candidates. And then in this specific chapter, when he met Sri Rāmānanda Rāya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked 4 primary questions to Sri Rāmānanda Rāya. One of the first questions was, what is the highest perfection of human life? And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, give quotations from the Shastras. So we see Sri Rāmānanda Rāya quoting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, how following the Varnashrama Dharma is the highest. One has to remain in his own varna and ashrama and then progress on bhakti. He gave different levels also. First level was Swadharma Acharana, then Krishne Karmarpanam, then Swadharma Tyaga, when Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Swadharma, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Then he quotes Gnana Mishra Bhakti from Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Shochati Na Kankshati. And then Gnana Sunya Bhakti. Also he quotes from Srimad Bhagavata. Pure devotional service should be done without any touch of speculative knowledge. And then that is, so when we refer Caitanya Subhodhini by His Grace Sri Gauranga Darshan Das Prabhu, he's given such a wonderful table, the essence and the description and the summary. So when you see Swadharma Acharana, it is like copper. He's comparing to different metals, copper. Then Krishna Karmarpanam, he's comparing it to bell metal. Then Swadharma Tyaga, when one follows Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, he is telling it is like a silver metal. As the different metals go on, the importance and then how costly it becomes, it progresses. And then devotional service mixed with gnana, he compares it to gold. And then pure devotional service without any touch of speculative knowledge, he compares it to touchstone. Like that progression in bhakti. And now again, after reaching devotional service, now again in that there are variations which Rāmānanda Rāya says. Devotional service in accordance with regulative principles with faith again is compared to bhakti, copper metal. Then as you progress on raga marga or prema bhakti, spontaneous loving service, then he is comparing it to better. But then bell metal is again compared to dasya prema, where there is a spontaneous loving exchange in service attitude as a servant, exchanged between master and servant. And then silver is where service rendered to Krishna in Vatsalya Rasa, and also with a sense of equality, that is Sakhya Rasa. Then Vatsalya Prema, like having personal relationship like Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, they are compared to gold. But there is still better than this. Caitanya Mahāprabhu says, Aho Uttama, it is good, but better than this. What is it? Then he talks about Kanta Prema, or the love of gopis towards Krishna. And in this connection, this is touchstone, the best, because whichever it touches, it becomes gold. So Rāmānanda Rāya quotes from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, from 32 chapter and 47th chapter. So going like this, he glorifies the love of the gopis, how they have completely given up everything. Now when Krishna said in 9th chapter 34th verse, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru, in that particular thing we see that in fact it is directly and indirectly hinting at the love of the gopis, because when we see the gopis love, their mind, their bodies, their thoughts, everything is deeply immersed in love for Krishna. And when we see Sarvadharma Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, we see that also is a direct hint which is giving about the gopis' love for Krishna, because they didn't see any social convention, anything they did not see. As soon as Krishna played the flute, they gave up everything and surrendered to Krishna. So like that, the glories of the love of gopis, Rāmānanda describes. And then that was the first question. So he progressively came up to the glories of the gopis, and then he also concluded that particular section with glories of Srimati Radharani, quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam, Anayaradito nunam Bhagavan Haririshvaraha yanno vihaya Govinda pritoyam anayad raha. So the topmost worshipper and the supermost gopi is Srimati Radharani. So then after concluding that, now Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu asks the second question, the truth of Radha Krishna, Sri Radha Krishna and their pastimes. So then Rāmānanda Rāya tells, okay, you are making me talk, and then he glorifies, then he describes Radha Tattva and Krishna Tattva he describes. Then after this description, now question mark 3, which Caitanya Mahaprabhu asks, is what is the sadhana process to attain the sadhya, the goal? So we heard Rāmānanda Rāya describing about what is the process, the gopis' love should be followed. Then now he describes the glories of gopis' love. Then he describes from 220 to 232, he describes Raghanuga Marga, following in the footsteps of the gopis. That is the highest sadhana to achieve the highest sadhya. The prime ultimate goal of life is to achieve Krishna prema. And question 4, in the section from verses 242 to 259, what are the greatest things, Caitanya Mahaprabhu asks. And then Rāmānanda Rāyas are there. Like I will just give one or two. What is the greatest education? And Rāmānanda Rāya says, devotional service of Krishna. Krishna Bhakti is the greatest education. And what is greatest reputation a person can have? To be known as a Krishna Bhakti. So these are the 4 different topics which Caitanya Mahaprabhu asks, and Rāmānanda Rāya covers these different topics. So now we are doing actually from text number 214. So before that, we are seeing Srimati Radharani's selfless love was explained last week. So Srimati Radharani's wonderful qualities are that she thinks that everybody's love should be directed towards Sri Krishna, and she also inspires, makes an arrangement so that the gopis, each gopi can go and associate with Sri Krishna. But the gopis' love is so selfless, they want to see Sri Radha and Krishna together. That is how their selfless love is. This is how we see how the mutual behavior. So we learn a lesson that among devotees we have to have mutual service attitude. But sometimes we feel that all the service is taken by the senior devotees, or we may have a feeling like that. But then, you know, the Lord is sitting in the heart of everyone as Paramatma. The Lord knows each one's desires and each one's capability to do a service. And that is how he directs each devotee to do particular service. We should not have enviousness, or we should not compare that one devotee gets more service than others, or we should not tell only some people get service, because everything Krishna is directing for the devotees, be it senior devotee, junior devotees. And Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. That also indicates as one surrenders, accordingly service will be granted. So this laulyam, what we were speaking last few weeks, is such that we hanker for service. That is progression in devotional service, and Krishna will provide it. Krishna is watching us as the deity. Krishna is sitting in our hearts and watching our sentiments and feelings. So certainly, when we are capable, when we are understanding, when we are qualified to do particular service, Krishna immediately fulfills that desire. So when we see this loving dealings between the gopis, we should understand every devotee has a place to serve Krishna. There is no competition at all in this spiritual world. Even in this material world, there is no competition, because Krishna gives service to every devotee. So let me start with 214 of Madhya Lila, chapter 8. Anyonye vishuddha preme kare rasa pushta thana sabara prema dheki Krishna haya tushta. Translation: the transcendental mellow is nourished by that mutual behavior in transcendental love of Godhead. When Krishna sees how the gopis have developed pure love for him, he becomes very satisfied. Forward by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Srimati Radharani and the gopis are not interested in their personal happiness derived from association with Krishna. Rather, they become happy by seeing one another associate with Krishna. In this way, their dealings are further nourished by love of Godhead, and seeing this, Krishna is very pleased. So this is how we should have dealings between the devotees. We should be pleased. We should be happy that each devotee is getting different services. And we should look at the good qualities of the devotees. Therefore, in this material world, has again and again repeated by Caitanya Mahāprabhu that there is lust, there is no love. When we say love, then it should not be any trace of enviousness or competition. Then it is called love. And 215, Sahaja Gopira Prema Nahe Prakruta Kama Kama Kride Samyatara Kahi Kama Nama. Translation: it is to be noted that the natural characteristic of the gopis is to love the Supreme Lord. Their lusty desire is not to be compared to material lust. Nonetheless, because their desire sometimes appears to resemble material lust, their transcendental love for Krishna is sometimes described as lust. Purport: Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura says that material lust should never be attributed to Krishna, who is full of transcendental knowledge. Material lust cannot be engaged in the service of the Lord, for it is applicable to materialists, not to Krishna. Only prema or love of Godhead is applicable for the satisfaction of Krishna. Prema is full service rendered unto the Lord. The lusty affairs of the gopis actually constitute the topmost love of Godhead, because the gopis never act for their own personal satisfaction. They're simply pleased by engaging other gopis in the service of the Lord. The gopis derive more transcendental pleasure from indirectly engaging other gopis in the service of Krishna than from engaging in his service themselves. That is difference between material lust and love of Godhead. Lust applies to the material world, and love of Godhead applies only to Krishna. Yeah, when I was reading the book by His Grace Srila Gaur Govinda Swami Goswami Maharaj, the book is Mathura Meets Vrindavan. So in this book, particularly, he is mentioning about how Srimati Radharani says in one verse from the Padyavali, she says, everybody is going to Yamuna to fill the water. I also go to Yamuna to fill the water. But then others say, oh, here comes Kula Kalankini. They think that Srimati Radharani is not chaste. Like that, the word is there in during her time in Vrindavan. But Gaur Govind Swami Goswami Maharaj says, she accepts, okay, no problem. But still, I want to love Krishna. So, when we refer to Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna says, Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, there is such a wonderful link. Krishna is telling, simply follow the gopis. Even Shankaracharya also glorifies how the gopis loved Sri Krishna. So here we see that material lust is nothing compared to the love of the gopis. This we have been reading. At this point, we should be clearly identifying that the love of gopis is the topmost, like the touchstone. Sukadev Goswami himself says how wonderful the love of the gopis is. And this quotation, this verse is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, wherein Rupa Goswami is telling that there is the love of the gopis is the topmost. But sometimes people confuse it to material lust. Text 216. प्रेमैव गोपरामाणां कामा इति आगमत् प्रथाम् इति उद्धवादयो अपि एतं वञ्चन्ति भगवत्प्रियाः. Translation: although the dealings of the gopis with Krishna are on the platform of pure love of Godhead, such dealings are sometimes considered to be lusty. But because they are completely spiritual, Uddhava and all the other dearmost devotees of the Lord desire to participate in them. This is a quotation from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.285. Sorry, I thought the previous one. So, when Sri Krishna was in the Dwaraka, he understood that he has to send a message to the gopis. Then he was searching who is the best person whom I can send. Uddhava, two purposes. He wanted to teach the prema of the gopis to Uddhava, and also he wanted to send a message to the gopis. Actually, Gaur Govind Goswami Maharaj says that a very good example he gives. During the summer season, all the lakes and everywhere water dries up because of the heat of the summer. Then a turtle which is in a sarovara, in a pond, when the water dries up, what will it do? It has to die because there is no water. But then what it does, it digs the mud and hides in the mud so that it will get little cool. It becomes little cool from the mud. And there is a hope of living. So, Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj compares this to the life of the gopis. Actually, when Krishna was taken away to Mathura by Akrura, the gopis are supposed to die. They did not want to live. But then Krishna promised, I will come back. So that is like the mud, how the turtle hid themselves in the mud to get cooling and they want to live. Similarly, the gopis are only living by that statement. Oh, what will happen? Krishna said he will come back. If we are not there, how will Krishna feel happy? So simply for the pleasure of Krishna, they lived. Otherwise, they did not have any interest in living. So Uddhava, after getting the message, he's seeing this condition of the gopis and the song of the bee, which we see in the Bhagavatam. That is wonderful. Sukadeva Goswami singing the glories of gopis, and the gopis are Srimati Radharani specifically is singing how Krishna left, but then they are only surviving because of the prema. Like this, we see how even Uddhava, after seeing all this, is desiring, his prayer is, I want to become a dust, a straw. Because if he asks for the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis, they may not give. They may think, oh, we are not qualified. So he is praying, I want to become a straw in Vrindavan, so that when these gopis trample, I may get little love of what the gopis are feeling. Text 217. Nijendriya sukha hetu kamera tatparya, Krishna sukha tatparya gopi bhava varya. Translation. Lusty desires are experienced when one is concerned with his own personal sense gratification. The mood of the gopis is not like that. Their only desire is to satisfy the senses of Krishna. Highest prema we are seeing here. In material world, when we see, why do we see that even in a loving dealing between a lover and a beloved, sometimes there is dissatisfaction. Sometimes the lover kills the beloved because of so many things, not one reason. Therefore, that is personal sense gratification. We can see so many examples. We every day in the news we see so many things. But the mood of the gopis is the topmost, wherein they simply want to only satisfy Krishna. The next quotation is from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is saying here, Nijendriya sukha vachana hi gopi kara, Krishna sukha dite kare sangama vihara. Among the gopis, there is not a pinch of desire for sense gratification. Their only desire is to give pleasure to Krishna, and this is why they mingle with him and enjoy with him. So several times we have read Krishna is the Vishaya and or Krishna is the object, and Krishna, the gopis want to depend on him. Ashraya, they want to take his shelter. So their only desire is to please Krishna. So sometimes we see Srimati Radharani Mana, that is, she shows her Abhimana. Then what is it? We may, some ordinary persons who may read, they think, why Srimati Radharani is showing her Abhimana or her anger. But then when we read this, it is only for the pleasure of Krishna, because Krishna also wants to enjoy. How can Krishna also enjoy variety of pleasures. Srimati Radharani is the Haladini potency. And then we see everything should originate from Krishna. And Srimati Radharani is not different from Krishna. And we see there is a loving fight between the lover and the beloved. So even this, where it should originate from Shri Krishna and Srimati Radharani herself. So therefore, everything, when she shows her anger towards the Lord, when she shows her mana, all this is just for the pleasure of Krishna. And this quotation is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Yatte sujata charanamburham staneshu bhitashanai priyadadi mahi karkasheshu tenatavi matasi tadvata tena kim swet kurpadhi bhramati bhavadayusham naha. Translation: all the gopis said, Dear Krishna, we carefully hold your delicate lotus feet upon our hard breast. When you walk in the forest, your soft lotus feet are pricked by small bits of stone. We fear that this is paining you. Since you are our life and soul, our minds are very much disturbed when your lotus feet are pained. This is quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, text number 31 and 19th verse. So actually this text, chapter 31 is the wonderful Gopi Geet. When Krishna disappeared from the Rasa dance, what are the gopis singing? They are singing the glories of Krishna. And they are singing how Krishna appeared, how it is wonderful to be in the service of Krishna, to just hear his Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila, Tavakatamritam, Tapta Jivanam, they are singing. And then the entire Gopi Geet is so wonderful, it is completely giving the glories of Krishna. So the ending of the chapter is this. They are showing that their love for Krishna is only to give pleasure to Krishna. And then how they are describing how soft Krishna is. At this point, we should understand that Krishna actually disappeared with Srimati Radharani. But then when the gopis came searching for Sri Krishna, we see Srimati Radharani also is crying because Krishna disappeared from them, from her also. And then all the gopis are singing this. They are asking each tree, each stone, each creeper. They are asking, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? And in that separation, they are singing the Gopi Geet. So, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and which is coming from Rāmānanda Rāya also, the Viraha or the Vipralamba Bhava, crying in separation, is the topmost. Because when Sambhoga is there, externally they are seeing. When Sambhoga is there, they are seeing Krishna, they are seeing his activities. But when Krishna has disappeared, their heart is full of Krishna. Wherever they see, they only want to see Krishna. So it is said in the Gita Govinda, there is a song which says, during Sambhoga, Radharani is telling, okay, I'm seeing you Krishna, only one Krishna I'm seeing. But during Vipralampa, Srimati Radharani is saying, I'm seeing 360 degrees Krishna. So that is therefore, that is the topmost. And Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj says, Krishna, crying for Krishna is Gauranga, Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu. But Jagannath crying for Srimati, Krishna crying for Srimati Radharani is Jagannath. Therefore, we can see the link between how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Jagannath Puri, and in separation he is crying and for Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Text 220. Cheyi gope bhavamrite yandra lobhaya veda dharma loka tyaji se Krishna bhajaya. Translation. One who is attracted by that ecstatic love of the gopis does not care about popular opinion or the regulative principles of Vedic life. Rather, he completely surrenders onto Krishna and renders service unto him. So from now 220 to 232, the Raganuga Marga, following in the footsteps of the gopis, Sri Rāmānanda Rāya is describing. So Gopi Bhavamrita, this is the ecstatic love of the gopis. And if we follow that, we will not care for the regulative principles of Vedic life. So Veda Dharma. But Srila Prabhupada has given us this. We have to follow Vaidhi Dharma unless we reach that topmost. It is not an ordinary person, very difficult to understand the Gopi Bhava. But if one is attracted and if we follow the ways of Sri Caitanya Mahāprabhu, surely we can develop, but it is a step-by-step process. It is not immediately we do. Vaidhi Marga should be followed, even if we have such a ecstatic love also. Sometimes material world, people will say, yes, I love Krishna, I sing for him, I cook for him, everything. But unless and until one's heart is purified by chanting, one understands the entire position of Sri Krishna's greatness, unless one understands the Gopi's position and Srimati Radharani's position, one cannot develop this Gopi Bhava. Raganuga marge tanre bhaje yeyi jana, seyi jana paye vraje vrajendra nandana. If one worships the Lord on the path of spontaneous love and goes to Vrindavana, he receives the shelter of Rajendra Nandana, the son of Nanda Maharaj. Purport. In all, there are 64 items listed for the rendering of service unto Krishna, and these are the regulative principles enjoined in the Shastras and given by the spiritual master. One has to serve Krishna according to these regulative principles. But if one develops spontaneous love for Krishna, as exhibited in the activities of those who live in Vrajabhumi, one attains the platform of Raghanuga Bhakti. One who has developed this spontaneous love is eligible for elevation to the platform enjoyed by the inhabitants of Vrajabhumi. In Vrajabhumi, there are no regulative principles set forth for Krishna's service. Rather, everything is carried out in spontaneous, natural love for Krishna. There is no question of loving the principles of the Vedic systems. Such principles are followed within this material world, and as long as one is on the material platform, he has to execute them. However, spontaneous love of Krishna is transcendental. It may seem that the regulative principles are being violated, but the devotee is on the transcendental platform. Such service is called Gunatita or Nirguna, for it is not contaminated by the three modes of material nature. In this connection, we have about Ras Khan, who was a great devotee who wrote many wonderful songs about Krishna and gopis. And as a child, when he went with his parents to Vrindavan, they stayed for some days in Vrindavan, and when it was time for them to go back, Ras Khan refused. He said, no, we'll stay for some more time. He was hardly 8 or 9 years when they came to Vrindavan. So the parents agreed and stayed for some more time. But then after, when it was time to go back, Ras Khan refused. So they said, okay, you stay back, because he was bent upon staying back in Vrindavan. So somehow they made arrangements for him and the parents went back. So Raskant stayed back in Vrindavan. Like this, when one is so much attracted by the spontaneous love, if he goes to Vrindavan, who can leave Vrindavan and come back? Unless they are pulled back by the material longings. So there is also a wonderful song by Rupa Goswami. There is a verse. He says, if you love your family and your wife, do not go to the bank of Yamuna. If you love your family and wife, do not see the Gopinatha on the banks of Yamuna. If you love your family and friends, do not go to the Kesi Ghata or Vamshivata. Like this, Rupa Goswami, it's an indirect speech telling that if you love Krishna, who will leave Vrindavan and come back? If one, so therefore, unless and until blessed by Srimati Radharani, and unless and until one understands the topmost position of the gopis, one cannot live in Vrindavan. It is a mercy one has to understand, and therefore such service is called Gunatita, because every person, every living entity is influenced by the three modes of material nature. Except when we do service in Vrindavan, we are not affected by this three modes. Okay, we'll do 2. Vraja lokera kona bhava lana yehi bhaje bhava yogya deha pana Krishna paya vraje. Translation: in his liberated stage, the devotee is attracted by one of the 5 humors in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As he continues to serve the Lord in that transcendental mood, he attains a spiritual body to serve Krishna in Goloka Vrindavana. It is said that some of the Goswamis say that if we have to achieve a spiritual body, Siddha Deha, then we have to follow one of the devotees in Vrindavana. Like we have 5 rasas: Shanta Rasa, Dasa Rasa, Sakhya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, and Madhurya Rasa. Naturally, when our love becomes fructified, when it attains fruit, we will naturally develop a love for one of the devotees who is in one of the rasas, and then attraction for them through their service. We glorify a particular devotee for their service, and that is how we can. But this has to come from the spiritual master. There has to be a blessing from the spiritual master to even understand what rasa we are in. So, as long as we do not develop such bhava, we have to follow the Vedic principles of constant nama japa, reading, and being in the association of devotees. This is very, very important. Text 223. Tahete drishtanta Upanishad Shruti Gana Raga Marge Bhaji Paila Vrajendra Nandana. Those saintly persons who represent the Upanishads are vivid examples of this. By worshipping the Lord on the path of spontaneous love, they attain the lotus feet of Rajendra Nandana, the son of Nanda Maharaja. Purport: in the Goloka Vrindavana planet, Krishna's servants are headed by Raktaka and Patraka. Krishna's friends are headed by Sridhama, Subala, and others. There are also elderly gopis and the cowherd men headed by Nanda Maharaja, Mother Yashoda, and others. All of these personalities are eternally engaged in the loving service of the Lord in accordance with their specific attachments for Krishna. One who wants to return home to serve the Lord directly may be attracted to Krishna as a servant, friend, father, or mother. If a person continuously serves Krishna during this life in a particular ecstasy, upon giving up the material body, he attains a spiritual body suitable for serving Krishna in terms of his particular attachment. One may serve as a servant, friend, father, or mother. In the same way, one who wants to serve Krishna in conjugal love can attain a body under the guidance of the gopis. In this connection, the most vivid example is provided by those saintly personalities known as Shrutis, who represent the Upanishads. The Shrutis understood that without serving Krishna and following in the footsteps of the gopis, there would be no possibility of their entering the kingdom of God and serving Krishna in the mood of conjugal love. Therefore, they engaged in spontaneous, loving service unto Krishna and followed in the footsteps of the gopis. So here Srila Prabhupada is very clearly explaining how that by following the personalities who are eternally engaged, Dasya Bhava, Shantarasa, Dasya Bhava, Sakhya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, and Madhurya Rasa. We see actually in the 10th canto, in the 18th chapter, maybe in the next few verses, we see the Shrutis praying to Sri Krishna. And this particular quotation is also given. Okay, we will read 224. Nibrutamaran mano akshadruda yoga yujo hrudiyan munaya upasate tad arayo apiyayu smaranat striya uragendra bhoga bhujadanda vishakta dhiyo vayam apite sama samadrisho angri saroja sudaha. Great sages conquer the mind and senses by practicing the mystic yoga system and controlling the breath. Thus, engaging in mystic yoga, they see the super soul within their hearts and ultimately enter into impersonal Brahman. But even the enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead attain that position simply by thinking of the Supreme Lord. However, the damsels of Raja, the gopis, being attracted by the beauty of Krishna, simply wanted to embrace him and his arms, which are like serpents. Thus, the gopis ultimately tasted the nectar of the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, we Upanishads can also taste the nectar of his lotus feet by following in the footsteps of the gopi. So this is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 87.23, spoken by the Shrutis, the personified Vedas. This quotation Rāmānanda Rāya is telling. So when Rāmānanda Rāya is telling that one has to follow the footsteps of gopis, so where is the proof? He's giving a quotation from the Srimad Bhagavatam itself. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost literature, where even the Vedas, the Shrutis, we hear the prayers, the Devatas pray, the Vedas pray, the Upanishads pray, the Shrutis pray, they are all glorifying the Lord. And specifically here, the Shrutis, who are the representatives of Upanishads, they are praying and they are telling, unless we are following the footsteps of the gopis, we cannot enter into Vrindavan Dhama to serve Krishna in Madhurya Rasa, especially. So therefore, following the footsteps of the gopis is the highest bhava, the touchstone which Rāmānanda Rāya is speaking about. I would like to finish up to 226 because that is one section of Raghanuga Marga. Samadrisha shabde kahe se hi bhave anugati. Sama shabda kahe shrutira gopi deha prapti. The word samadrishaha mentioned in the fourth line of the previous verse means following the mood of the gopis. The word samaha means shrutis, attainment of bodies like those of the gopis. So Rāmānanda Rāya is describing this. 226. Angri Padma Sudaye kahe Krishna Sangananda Vidhi Marge na paye Praje Krishna Chandra. The word Angri Padma Sudha means associating intimately with Krishna. One can attain such perfection only by spontaneous love of Godhead. One cannot obtain Krishna in Goloka Vrindavana simply by serving the Lord according to regulative principles. So this is the Raganuga Marga, which Sri Rāmānanda Rāya is describing, and he is also he will conclude in some more verses in the next few verses. So what can we learn from this? What is our learning taking is we have to understand whatever service we are doing, it should be out of love. And when we associate with devotees, we have to understand how great the devotees are, that they are getting an opportunity to serve the Lord. So there should be no enviousness or competition among with us and the devotees. And whatever service we do, we should remember, oh, how the gopis are doing, how the other devotees are doing. How can I improve myself in my service to Krishna? How can I improve my love for Krishna? Every path, every way, every day, we can always think, what can I do little more for Krishna so that I can increase my love for him? With this, I would like to conclude. श्री चैतन्य चरितामृता की जय, श्री गुरुदेव की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर की जय, श्री श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय, अनंत कोटि भक्त वृंद की जय. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's and Mataji's, thank you all for your wonderful, patient listening. Any comments or questions, please you can ask.
Hare Krishna Mataji, so nice, so nicely explained. It's actually very advanced, deeper subject. As you rightly mentioned, this is the crux of Raganuga Marga, which author is explaining. And the question comes, we are not in the stage, and we are very, very, very far from the stage which we are discussing for the last few weeks. Why are we hearing this? What is the importance when we are not into the stage, and it is not? We can't even imagine that we are going to be in the stage very soon. But why are we insisting? Because this is very, very important topic. The point here is we definitely not in the stage. We are still in very initial stages of sadhana bhakti. But by hearing this wonderful personalities, like all these gopis and Srimati Radharani, what kind of devotion they have towards Krishna, it creates an inquisitiveness within our heart. It creates a purity in our heart, so that eventually I don't say we come to that stage in near future, but at least we aim to come to that stage, so that our hankering for Krishna will increase. So this is my Mata, you can share your view on this. Also, other devotees.
Yes, Prabhu, exactly what you said. Actually, the Srimad Bhagavatam glorifies this. The Rasa Panchadhyayi, if you read, the lust in the hearts will slowly melt away. So, before even, I feel, this is my understanding, before even we understand such high topics, it is best that how much depth we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, how much we can read and analyze and follow at least some principles of the Srimad Bhagavatam, how our hearts can be purified. The more we read, and so when Krishna says, when our hearts become like butter, he steals it. So much soft and purified we have to become. every moment we have to think, okay, what service am I doing? Am I really thinking of Krishna and doing this? Am I doing it for Krishna or for myself? So this is my realization, putting Krishna first in everything. Even the bodily comforts, we are, oh my God, I am tired, I can't do today. But even considering putting behind the bodily comforts and doing service for Krishna is topmost, I feel. But our body will not cooperate. We get up late. We will not be able to chant in the morning. We drag it. So many conditions are there for this body. So this is my understanding and realization.
Very true, Mataji. So whatever dirt which is accumulated in our heart for millions of lifetimes, at least there's an opportunity for us to constantly keep hearing this great personality, so that some stage all this will be melted, and we eventually may come to uh, think of coming to that stage. So it's very important that all the participants uh, they make it a practice to attend these sessions regularly, because Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya is not a part-time practice. That's why Prabhupada always uses word phrase Nityam Bhagavata. Nityam. So it's a regular. It's not that when we have a class we attend, when we don't have a class we don't attend, or as Majesta Mataji said, bodily comforts. We when we cannot attend, Maya will give millions of reasons to explain that why I could not attend. But we should try to make it a point why. How can I attend? What can I do to somehow attend this? It's not we are not taking a 6 hours or 8 hours marathon session. So just matter of 45 minutes to 1 hour. So request everybody to make it a practice to at least put an effort to try to attend these sessions regularly and encourage others also to attend. Anybody else want to share realizations? Welcome.
I myself would like to share my realization.
Yeah, okay.
Especially when we give a class, if you have to read, so many things are there and you understand so many things, and we want to really go deep in. Unless we read, this is my realization, unless we read, we cannot appreciate what the devotees are talking. What is Caitanya Mahāprabhu? Who is he? Why we are worshipping their lordships? We cannot understand unless we read, discuss, and associate. So very, very important, because it is not just we read for some time and give it up. Analytical, a deep study is very, very needed. Like always Prabhu is said, surface is not enough. You have to go deep into the.
Thank you, Mataji. Any other points or discussion, comments, questions by other devotees before we conclude the session? Thank you, Mataji. Thanks for your wonderful session today. So you concluded with the text 226, right?
Two, one second.
226.
Yes,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
yes, Prabhu. 226.
So next week is supposed to be by Her Grace Manmohan Mataji. Mataji is not, I could not see Mataji here today. We'll confirm from Mataji and then we'll announce the. Mataji, you can conclude the session.
Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Shri Gurudev ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Koti Bhaktivinoda ki jai. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।